Sibley, and she's like, wrong place.
Wrong state, honey.
I've sold things
There's a
online and
Lowell,
they said,
Wisconsin too.
Lowell, Massachusetts right now.
Yeah.
We had a truck come here one time, delivery truck come here.
Oh, I hadn't heard
Yeah, and
that.
they
For
were,
Massachusetts?
they were supposed to go be in Lowell, Massachusetts, and they couldn't find it here.
Oh, my
They were
gosh.
supposed to be in Lowell, Massachusetts.
Oh,
Whoops,
that's
a lot of
a-
wrong turns.
Yeah.
Just drop off your stuff.
That
we'll
is
get
a
it
bad
tomorrow.
day.
So here's an even funnier story. Back when I first came here, hang on. Back when I first came here, I got a call from a resident who was complaining about some bar on 21 outside of Lowell. So I've maybe been here just a couple, I may have been here 6 months. And she's trying to tell me where this is, and she says, yeah, we're having all these issues of this bar, and I never heard of this place. I'm like, so so the only thing I could think of was maybe the Moose Lodge.
Yeah.
And this lady kept going on, and I'm like, ma'am, I gotta ask you, what state are you in? North Carolina.
Oh,
I'm like,
North Carolina?
I'm like, no, this is Lowell, Michigan. I said, but the crazy thing is, we have State Route 21 too, just like you do, that your town is off of. And it was, yeah, she's like, oh, well, who do I call? I don't know, you gotta Google Lowell, North Carolina. Talk to
Who
them.
do I call?
oh my goodness.
None.
Am I the internet lady?
Yeah, Google.
All right, ready? Are we
I'm ready.
recording, Michael?
Yeah, it's on.
All right, you want to give us a quick overview, and then we'll ask you some questions.
Sure, you'll have to forgive me because I've never done this before,
That's
but,
fine.
and I
I'll
know
see
you
there.
guys have heard a lot of it. But just to give you kind of a little bit of my background, I have a bachelor's degree from Western Michigan University that's in architectural design, so it's an engineering degree. I minored in business, and that background has kind of led me to what I'm passionate about. And that's kind of repurposing, recycling, upcycling, and rehabbing. Primarily furniture, but I've kind of diversified into a lot of smalls and a lot of boutique appropriate type merchandise in that. My family and I have lived here in Lowell for the past 11 years. We're right in the neighborhood. Part of my desire to remain in Lowell and open my own business here in town is that I do have a lot of relationships with current merchants. I have existing wholesale accounts and my family support here, so the Line Check building is extremely convenient in regards to where we live and what I do. Having said that, I'm also not one that's looking to rent out any of my space. It would be owner occupied, and I would not reinvent the wheel. The building as it is lends itself very nicely to what I would hope to do with it. And I've given you guys like a lot of details that we didn't share or touch on before in regards to kind of my business plan, my marketing strategy. I don't know how much of that you want to go into, but I've also included for you kind of a rough draft of floor plans and elevations of what I plan to do with the building and how I plan to renovate and repair what needs to be done to the building. It wouldn't, like I say, it wouldn't be a lot of demolition. It would be obviously some construction, new windows, new industrial, like garage doors to function the way we need them to. There would be an additional entrance for customers on the south side of the business. There would be what I envision as kind of a concession stand type window, if you will, that would be very industrial, very secure, but could be opened for things like Market on Main and foot traffic that doesn't need to come in. I do understand that, obviously, whomever it is that purchases the building, there are some structural concerns, and I would, begin, I guess, at that point with a structural engineer or a structural inspection to see just exactly what's ready to go and what isn't, what needs to be addressed before the actual construction could be done. But the plans that I have with the building would not be real disruptive to the current neighbors. It wouldn't be disruptive really to the flow of traffic over there. Parking is not a huge concern for myself. doing what I do right now within Flat River Cottage, we have very minimal parking, and it just has never been an issue. So I know that there's public parking in the area there that would be open, but I'm not, you know, the type of business that would require a huge number of parking spaces. So I would incorporate minimal workspace within the building there, obviously renovate the restroom and make it a functioning office up front where it looks like the Line Shack building had once had an office, with the balance of the space, which the chamber is currently using for storage, whatever, that would be my retail space. So that would be where the actual shop would be. And then I've got kind of a timeline. I did reach out to Williams and Works to discuss the likelihood of rezoning it for my use. I'm confident after talking with Andy that it shouldn't be a concern. It sounds as though that would be a fairly easy rezoning process. Although he did say you can expect it to take 6 to 8 weeks. So I do know that. I would want to get the application submitted immediately for that so that I can start moving on the things that I see as priorities to make it functional for my use. Then I've got just kind of the current image of the building. And I know most of you have probably seen everything before, but kind of just a quick sketch of what I did, how I envisioned some of the changes being incorporated. I've included for you a couple letters of reference or recommendation that a couple of residents had offered up. And then just to give you, and I didn't do this for all of you because I know this is probably not a priority for you guys, but if you want to just pass it, that's just a few of my projects that I've done. I've rehabbed some things for like the Fallsburg Historical Society. I've reframed some artwork for them, and I could just kind of do a little bit of everything. But it would be nice to have a designated space to do this type of thing for the community. And the postcard or the photograph that I included in everybody's packet is just kind of my vision. It's very broad and generalized, but I'd like to see that on the water side of the building, a mural. Obviously relative to Michigan and not Massachusetts, but it's hard to find a big print postcard, and there happened to be one for Lowell, Massachusetts. And that's not something that Lowell currently has, either historical postcards or current postcards. And I'd like to see about having an artist create something like this, not only for the mural, but maybe something that the inn could carry for, you know, souvenirs, postcards, travelers that come through this area.
Okay. Questions, who wants to start this time?
I will. And just to give you a heads up, we're asking these same questions of everybody, and you may have covered some of it.
Okay.
But bear with us, please. Yeah.
Thank you. Yep.
The city's vision for the Line Shack is that its restoration will be a catalyst project on the west side of the Flat River and thus revitalizing the area. In essence, the city's looking for a unique and dynamic interest for the Line Shack. Why do you believe your firm can provide this, and what would you do to execute it?
I believe that it's a good fit for me because I currently offer a lot of what I'm proposing to you locally within another business. This would give me the freedom to carry out my own visions and work with the community to restore the property, to renovate the property, and to have a bit more freedom to do the things that need to be done or that I'd like to see done. I'm in a position where I'd like to no longer answer to a landlord. I'm in a situation there where a lot of my merchandise is upstairs, and not the details matter, but it leaks. And the building has leaked for a decade at least. And the landlord is not all that interested in repairing. And so it makes sense for me to find something that I have control over in that sense. That if there are repairs needed, it's up to me to take care of them. Renovations, modifications, future growth, I'm all on board. This is something that I've wanted to do for a very long time. I'm in a position now, and with this building becoming available, it just seemed like the perfect fit to me. And this is what I'd like to do. And my livelihood depends on it. I have my family's support, but I have to succeed at what I do. I'm not looking to rent it to someone and hope that, in a year or two, they're still there. This is me, and it would be my baby, if you would, to make it happen.
All right. What are your cost estimates to fully convert this building? Have you completed a preliminary pro forma for this project? And has your firm ever completed a project of this nature? And what percentage of this project are you anticipating financing for?
I am hoping to do this entirely cash. I do not have an actual dollar figure, and a lot of that is because numbers that I have are ballpark, and not having access to the building, it's been kind of a challenge to get people out there or want to invest thousands in having inspections and engineering surveys and whatnot done. I believe that the structure itself will probably require about $30,000 in structural improvements. I've spoken with Ryan over at Lowell Light and Power in regards to the electrical. He assures me that that's all run. It's a matter of turning it back on, essentially. But I do understand that there are updates that are going to need to be made, that heating and cooling is going to need to be addressed, that plumbing is going to need to be addressed. And that's why when I entered in with my offer of $118,000, I thought that that's a fair increase over what you guys thought was fair market price. But it also didn't deplete my resources for doing what needs to be done to make it a functional building. And as far as opening my doors, I have merchandise, I have established rapport with a number of wholesale so I'm ready to go. I just need to make it work and improve the building.
Thank you.
Number 3. The city of Lowell is looking for a tenant with the ability to complete this project and to have a sustainable operation. Please tell us how you will work with the city to assure that you can adequately fund this project and continue to have a sustainable operation.
I'm not sure how I can prove that to you other than, providing you with some of my financial information. But I wouldn't be interested in buying the building if I couldn't do what needs to be done with it, if I couldn't open my doors. And in all fairness, having participated in a couple of shops, but the one that I'm currently in, it puts me in a position too where I need to be honest with her and let her know what I'm looking at doing and that I'm exploring this option. So I've kind of put myself in a position where I may have one foot out of her door. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So yeah, and I'm not one to drag my feet. This is what I do. This is what my background is in. I don't have an existing firm or development company that I've worked with, but this is what I do. I don't work another job outside of the home. So I've got the time and the energy to put into contacting whichever inspectors, contractors, construction companies.
Sure.
And your offer was cash, correct?
Correct.
Okay. The City of Lowell is focused on creating a sense of place for the downtown district by enhancing our natural assets and creating a walkability community. What does this mean to you and how will you embrace this in your project?
I want my business to be accessible by everyone. In putting the window and the entrance that I envision, it will encourage, interaction and networking between the other current merchants. Backwater Cafe, I'm open to them continuing to use the side there. I know that the storm took out their gazebo or whatever, but that's what I envision. I want to be community friendly. I want to be other business friendly. I want to work together, network, and encourage traffic. I mean, Lowell more than ever is a destination now. We have the restaurants, we have the shopping, we have a number of positives that are bringing people from outside of the immediate Lowell area into town, and I'd like to continue that. That's why I'd like to approach the renovations and the modifications to the building to encourage future growth and interaction with the markets and whatever we can grow from there. I, for 5 or 6 years, organized and operated the Fallsburg Bazaar. So I'm no stranger to that type of thing either, and getting vendors and all of that set up, and I'd like to be able to do that.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Any legal issues, criminal offenses, foreclosures, bankruptcies?
No,
That, they made me ask this one.
no.
Okay.
Can't you check with downstairs to make sure?
We will.
We're giving you the opportunity.
No.
The city of Lowell is a public body, and in dealing with a public body, transparency is of the utmost concern. There's a strong possibility that the process will be highly scrutinized by the public. Is this a concern for you, and how do you plan on addressing it?
I know that it already is being
Mm,
publicly, I'm an open book. I am what I say I am, and like I say, there's a lot of local merchants that know me and know that this is what I've done. I've done it for a number of years, and I've continued like succeeding at a higher growth rate than I expected. So, I know there's gonna be a lot of scrutiny. And no, I'll have a conversation with anybody and be very honest about what my plans are.
Thank you.
That leads me to me. Question 7. Do you have any questions for us?
I do have a couple of questions. Do you guys know yet, I mean, obviously you're entertaining everyone's presentation again today. Do you know what your time frame is for reaching a decision?
Yes, so at some point in the near future, the council's gonna direct me to put a resolution together
Okay.
to sell the property. By our city charter, we have to have the resolution sit with the city clerk for 20 days before they can even take action on it. So that could happen today, that could happen in the future. I don't know when that'll be. But after that 20 days period is up, then at the first council meeting after that time frame, they can take action. They have to have 4 votes in the affirmative to sell the property. And then probably during that process, we'll probably be talking to you about a development agreement.
Okay.
Whoever's selected.
Right. No, I
And
know
so
what
we
you
can
meant.
prepare that component of it as well.
Okay. So once that's accomplished and the sale of the property goes forward, then you can begin the whole rezoning process?
Yeah, that's a pretty simple thing. It's a public facility right now. It would probably be rezoned to the downtown district, so.
Okay. So the 20-day waiting period, because I know that there was mention of the November 1st council meeting to actually make a decision.
I don't think,
That's too soon at this point, isn't it? Or not?
what's today, the
The
11th?
11th, so if we made a,
If you made a decision
A
today,
resolution
you
to-
Yeah,
could.
the 31st is the
Okay.
Sunday, and then
So-
Monday's our next
Yeah.
meeting.
Okay,
So yeah, if they did direct me to put a resolution together today, I could.
No pressure.
It could be, it could be the meeting on the 1st.
okay. Now, I mean, is there anything else that you are able to share in regards to the utilities? Obviously, I know that the electrical, the heat, like, all of that needs to be replaced. Do you know anything in detail about the plumbing?
I
No?
don't, all I know
Okay.
is that, I know there's gonna be significant upgrades to that facility.
Okay,
I think a lot of money, to get it to be white boxed, it's gonna be a lot of money.
well, and that's, yeah, I mean, I am aware of that, because I have inspected the property a couple of times, I've been out there, and the bathroom is not up to code.
questionable.
That's,
I don't think it's usable.
I think somebody just left one day and, yeah.
I think that's what happened.
But, that was part of my consideration too in entertaining some of the other proposals and, mine doesn't have to meet code for restaurant operations or the health, you know what I mean? Like, obviously I want it to be safe and upgraded for the public, but
Flushable.
flushable, yeah. Yeah, okay. I just, is there running water even going to the building yet?
I do not believe there's water
Okay.
on the site right now.
Okay, all right. I mean, there's only so much you can get put together in regards to,
Yeah.
costs when you don't really know what it's gonna entail. And due to COVID and it's just hard to get a lot of responses real timely, so.
And costs are so inconsistent right now.
Right.
Oh, they're everywhere.
Mhm.
And then if you decide on someone and you want them to do the work, you may not be able to hear back
Yep.
from them again.
Right.
It's a challenge.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, because this is, like I say, gonna be owner occupied, it's not a tenant that I'd be holding up, it's myself.
Right.
So it doesn't behoove me to drag my feet.
That's true.
Do you have other questions for me?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Have you ever been to Sawyer, Michigan?
No.
So there's a store that is very similar to this. And it's outside of, there's Greenbush Brewery, it's like a very big brewery.
Okay.
And there's a store where they refinish a bunch of furniture and stuff. But they allow public walkthrough while they're working in their shop. Is that something that you will let people like see you in the process of?
Absolutely.
Okay. It's very cool when you can walk through and it's,
Well, and
you see people like working and you kind of get to like, oh, I could do that. Or like, oh, I've got that dresser at home and
See, and that is a challenge that I've had because I do all of my work like off-site
yeah,
in my kitchen,
yeah.
which is not ideal. You know, I'm
Yeah.
really not a fan of sanding things in my house, but I do a lot of heirloom pieces and I like the customers to feel as though they can like see it in process
Yeah.
and give their input. And I've also had situations where I've redone pieces and then they need to be picked up, and it would be nice to not have everybody come to my home. I mean, you know, I volunteer on Tuesdays at the shop and people can come in on Tuesdays too. But yeah, absolutely. What I do is not simply paint dressers. That's not what I'm all about.
Right.
I'm about taking quality pieces of furniture and breathing new life into them. And if that means removing and replacing veneer, re-gluing joints. I mean, the old furniture was dovetailed and made with real wood. It's fun to work with. It's not your MDF and your pressed board that just needs to be glued and clamped and you hope it lasts another 6 months, so. But yeah, I would be open to that. And I hope to, you know, if I have this opportunity, I hope to grow to a point where I employ people. And I have help. And, you know, I have 3 daughters, one's up at Northern Michigan University, but I'd like for them to be involved. And I'd like for them to see the different aspects of not only what I do, but business. And kind of get a feel for different things.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That was painless. Not that it's-
We'll try to do better next time.
You guys have had a long day. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one.
You too.
Sanders does that too, Candy Factory, we can walk back.